The next item is item number 14, application for certificate of appropriateness in the Borough of Manhattan, docket number 15-3582, block 1198, lot 14, 31 West 84th Street in the Upper West Side, Central Park West Historic District, a Queen Anne-style row house designed by Henry L. Harris and built in 1886 to 87. This is an application to excavate the rear yard and reconstruct the existing rear yard addition. This was also read into the record on April 29th.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Abby Harlow, Preservation staff. The application is for work at the rear of 31 West 84th Street, which is located on the north side of West 84th Street between Columbus Avenue and Central Park West and the Upper West Side, Central Park West Historic District. The application is to excavate the rear yard, creating a below-grade addition that will extend just 5 feet shy of the rear lot line. Additionally, the proposal is to reconstruct this rear yard one-story addition to accommodate the excavation and modified masonry openings. And the architect is here to discuss the proposal.
My name is Ed Shallot, I'm the architect of the project. Hearing open. Thank you.
Hearing open, motion second, thank you.
The reason why we'd like to reconstruct this one-story addition, there is no cellar below this addition, and it's in pretty poor condition. I think you can see that it's all deteriorated, and we honestly don't know if it's original to the building. This 3-story extension, we believe, it has a cellar below it. But we do want to match the brick of the facade for the new extension. Essentially, we're not increasing the footprint of the building at all. And the extension below will be, in the cellar, will be entirely below grade. We're leaving a 5-foot buffer zone up to the rear property line. There's an existing retaining wall. There's a slight change in elevation on the adjacent property. This is slightly higher, about 3 or 4 feet higher than our rear yard. We'll pave our proposed rear yard with brick that would match a brick paver. And this is the existing facade here, you can see. We're going to add some windows and doors here, I don't know if you can see in this picture. Sure. We'd like to add some windows and doors on this one-story extension that we're going to reconstruct. And we'll echo the lintels of the existing building with the new cast concrete lintel here. And we'd like to put a new door into the kitchen as well.
But you're not changing that door.
We're not changing the form of the footprint, it's the same size and the shape. And I had a brick which is here. This is the brick which matches the existing facade.
Okay. Okay, questions?
Yeah, only that, this plan that's in the package is probably not the right plan of the proposed cellar construction. Isn't it the full, goes back except, it's different. Okay. So this one's not the same drawing. Okay,
This is the proposed cellar.
that one.
Yeah.
Put that up next to it.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Was that just possible?
Yeah, it's showing the basement level, I guess.
Oh, I apologize, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Okay,
This is correct. This shows the cellar, essentially. This entire area is below grade. And this is what you see in the rear yard. We have a 5-foot buffer zone planted up against the existing property. There's a rear yard here at the north side of the neighbor's property. Here's what we're doing. And this is the really one-story extension we'd like to reconstruct.
And is the rest paved?
This will be paved with a brick pave.
Thank you.
okay. Any other questions? Okay, we have testimony. Barbara Zay, please.
Barbara Zay of the Historic Districts Council. As always, HDC simply wishes to express that significant digging of rear yards such as this should be monitored by an experienced structural engineer to avoid damage to adjacent buildings. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Arlene Simon?
Good afternoon. Landmark West is a not-for-profit community organization committed to the preservation of the architectural heritage of the Upper West Side. The committee does not object to the application to reconstruct the existing rear yard addition with open space diminishing from the Upper West Side's rear yards and in New York City in general. The existing building footprint remain the same and will not encroach upon the donut of open space in neighboring rear yards. We're pleased to see that the 5-foot planted buffer at the rear property line and that the application aims to match the existing brick masonry. However, we find ourselves asking if the rear yard excavation is really necessary. The committee understands that bonus square footage is difficult to come by in New York City. We can support the approval of the application, providing that the scope of work does not impact the openness of the rear yard itself, a significant aspect of row house design that forms a respite of space within an urban landscape. As a reminder, row houses are typically constructed with minor lateral support and rely on abutting structures for stability. The committee encourages the applicant to ensure that the excavation will not disrupt adjoining neighbors. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Other testimony? Community Board 7's Preservation Committee voted to approve the application as modified with modify the cellar and rear yard addition work. The applicant agreed to add cast stone lintels over the new door opening and the rebuilt one-story rear yard addition to match the existing and modified window openings throughout the rear facade, and to consider surfacing the cellar roof with permeable pavers to make it a green roof. Okay, I guess with those modifications, conditioned, they approved. Further comments on anything that's been said in the testimony? Okay.
It's a very minor, modest proposal, so, and carefully keeping back the excavation, 5 feet is more, I think we talk about 6 feet, I don't know, but anyway, someplace, isn't that what we typically do? We do 5?
Many at 5. I
5,
think.
okay. Okay, so if it's the standard pullback, then I think that's what we expect.
Michael?
Gosh, I think that the application is in general okay and appropriate. I think the extent of the excavation is well within what we normally do. I would just ask that the applicant work with staff to work on these drawings. The rear elevation just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The fact that you've got a brick wall coming up right behind a double door doesn't quite work. And the railings look weird and the heights of the doors look weird. I would just urge the applicant to work with the staff to get better drawings.
Joan?
Support this. I think that this is a very modest proposal, and there have been precedents set where we do ask when there is excavation like this going on that it is done in compliance with a structural engineer under the supervision of an engineer with DOP approval. And that's something we always add to our certificate of approval. So I can support it.
Michael?
I would agree with those comments and request also that the adjoining properties be protected within the district with a monitoring equipment. Thank you.
Libby?
Yes, I can support it.
Can support it with those provisions.
With those provisos. Okay, hearing is closed with a motion and a second. And Marjorie?
In the
please.
matter of a certificate of appropriateness for 31 West 84th Street in the Upper West Side Central Park West Historic District, the application is to excavate the rear yard and reconstruct the existing rear yard addition. I recommend approval, finding that no significant architectural features of the building or site will be lost or damaged as a result of the proposed work, that none of the work will be visible from any public thoroughfare, that a majority of other buildings of this type in the block feature comparable or larger rear yard additions or enlargements in terms of their number of floors and projection into the rear yard, that the reconstruction of the existing rear yard addition will not result in the enlargement of the addition, that the grade level of the rear yard above the excavation will remain unchanged, and therefore the work will not affect the relationship of the rear yard to the house or surrounding yards, that the proposed excavation will not extend to the rear lot line and will be set back from the rear lot line to provide a 5-foot area for significant plantings in the rear yard, that the excavation and related underpinning will be done in compliance with Department of Buildings regulations under the supervision of a licensed professional engineer or registered architect to protect the building's facades and the adjacent buildings, and that the proposed work will not overwhelm the building or detract from the special architectural and historic character of the building, site, or historic context.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Thank you.